Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival. From his latest release, Parabellum, there's the new music from Yngwie-Malmsteen called Wolves at the Door. And we want to welcome to Rock and Metal Revival, Mr. Yngwie-Malmsteen. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you.
It's great to have you. Yngwie, with this release, it's the first new music we've gotten from you since 2019's Blue Lightning. How did the pandemic make this recording a little different for you?
Not too much, but what happened was in 2020 I had a world tour booked, and we started in Mexico, and then after we done that, they said, "Oh no, we have to move the other stuff back a bit." We all know why.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, whatever. And so, weeks turned into months, basically. And I decided that in the meantime, I just got to go in and write some stuff. And, because I do that when I'm on tour, too. When I'm doing a normal tour schedule, I go in the studio in between tours. And I just try to get material together. Anyways, then, of course, when I realized what happened was that, I'm going to, immerse myself in this now for about a year, I guess. So I did. And it is. I think it resulted in more detailed record. Not to say the other ones are, not detailed. I'm saying this just a little more.
Uh-huh.
It's very undiluted and it's very free of distractions and compromises.
Well, I know a lot of artists that we've had on the show who are releasing new music said they were worried about overthinking what they were writing and what they were doing because they had so much time on their hands. Was this a concern to you in recording this new album?
Very good question, because I find that could happen even when you don't have too much time. So what I do, I wait for the muse to come in and the inspiration, and I go in the studio, or I just hear it play in front of TV, whatever, or I just hear something in my head. And when it comes from it's very spontaneous. Improvisation is the genesis of composition. And it comes in, it could be a melody, it could be a riff, it could be whatever. And I record it, and then I put it in my car, and I cruise around, cruise around my convertibles.
Uh-huh.
What I do. And I hear something to that, and I add to it. And I go in the studio again, and I bring some more to it. The initial idea is what I find always to be the most strong thing. And you can detail it around it, you know what I mean? But, I have the ability, if I had to, if you ask me to, I could write you a country and western song now, whatever. I can do that. Or have a death metal song or a reggae song. Doesn't matter. I can do it. But doing it that way is not what I want to do. I want to wait for it to come spontaneously from nowhere. And kind of like undiluted and not thought out per se. It has to come like a spontaneous thing. And that is always what I've been trying to do. Not always been succeeding, obviously, but that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm very aware of the fact you can overthink things and you can So when I go in the studio, I don't do retakes. I don't like to do. Let me do another one. Let me do another one. I just do it, and I know it's the best I can do. And if it's the right one, I'll know later on. I don't, because if you start picking it apart and I'm gonna fix this, it really turns to crap to me. So I don't want to do that. So I avoid that. Even in this time when I had so much time, what I used the time for was to detail the songs, arrangement-wise, harmony-wise. How to put it. Maybe I should add something here. Maybe I should do something trailer here. Maybe I should do a different bass line here. Stuff like that. But the ideas themselves, when they arrive, they're the ones. You know what I mean? And plus, I probably did about 100 songs, and it turned out to be 10. So I just used what I felt was the strongest stuff. You know what I mean?
I understand totally. Now, you're actually singing on a few tracks on this album, considering how intense your guitar parts can get. Do you find a need to change your guitar parts to make that a little bit easier when you have to do the vocals?
No. The thing is that so I started playing when I was 7 years old. And when I say when I started playing, I mean I started playing. I got my first guitar when I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing like 10, 12 hours a day. I was a little crazy little kid. I mean, really, like a nut, you see like a little nutty kid. That's what I was. Completely insane as far as the dedication. So And when I started forming little bands and stuff, when I was like 9, 10 years old, from that point on, I was a singer always.
Okay.
So this is something I did until I moved to the States in '82. So it's not new, but for instance, the cassette tapes that I sent to Guitar Player magazine, I ended up having them calling me and say, "Come over." Was a recording. I played the drums, bass, keyboards, guitars, obviously, and sang. So it's not like it's something new to me. This is something I've been doing for a long time.
Okay.
And when I write certain lyrics and stuff like that, I just feel I couldn't possibly have someone else sing it.
Oh, I understand that. Now, you're going to be touring behind this album now that things are opening back up. Are you going to be the only singer on stage, or are you going to take a singer out with you?
Yeah, I'm the lead singer, but I have the keyboard player and the bass player singing backup, and so it's gonna be fine.
Okay, great. Hey, also, I wanted to congratulate you on having the #1 artist signature model, Fender Stratocaster. Now, I've seen a lot of pictures of your huge Strat collection. How do you pick which guitar to base your signature model after?
That I have numbers. Oh, do you mean that? Okay. Well, here's the thing. I'm a very grateful person anyway. I walk around in a cloud of being grateful all day, every day. That's what my song Eternal Bliss is about. Anyways, when I started out, I got my first Strat when I was very, very young. It was like a copy one, but it's like exactly the same. So when I got the real one, it was after a long story. Anyways, I've been playing Strats. I've always had different guitars as well. The Strat's always been like my weapon of choice. So when I came to the States, the Stratocaster was really out of fashion. Thanks to Eddie Van Halen. God bless him, by the way. Eddie Van Halen made the Stratocaster pretty much, it just wasn't fashionable at all. Everybody wanted humbuckers and whammies and shit like this. Mm-hmm. So what happened was, I was so dedicated to this instrument, and when I became like hot, so to speak, on the scene there in the beginning of the 80s, every guitar company in the world basically came to me and said, "We'll build anything you want. We'll do whatever you want. I said, "Thanks, but no thanks. I'd rather pay for Fender than." And then, lo and behold, Fender came to me, and what needs to be known is that Fender never even gave a guitar for free to artists.
Wow.
Hendrix and Beck and Blackmore, they had to buy their guitars. Fender never gave one for free, ever. So not only was I the first one to have one for free, but I was the first one to have a signature model. I remember I was playing the Long Beach Arena in California in 1986, and they came over and they started measuring my guitars. I had a 62 Strat and a 56 Strat on, behind there, and they started measuring it and the scallops and stuff like that, and everything. And they said, "We are making a signature model," and I'm like, "Wow, this is like crazy." Till this day, I find it crazy because it's just not something they would do, Uh-huh. They didn't do that. And then this is really early on, too, long before I was commenting to do. And so I'm very, very, very honored by that, obviously. And they actually, Marshall made my model as well, because, same thing with amps. Every amp company came to me as well, said, "No, Marshall is it," But anyways, so not only is the first one to come out, but it's also now the biggest seller. And you can't even find it. They're sold out. So I'm extremely honored by that, of course. It's crazy, really, considering.
Well, my co-host is a guitar player, and he wanted me to ask you a couple of guitar questions. He wanted to know how you make that guitar sound like a keyboard at the beginning of God Particle, and he wanted to know how that happened.
Okay, so I have one of my put a Roland MIDI pickup in it. You know, a Roland guitar sound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They have like a MIDI pickup in it. So it goes into a little box, and then you take that output from there, you put it into the computer, and the computer has programs where they call it Vienna Symphony, and you can have violins, pianos, strings, keys. Everything you hear on the album, everything. All the choirs and strings and pianos and cimbalos, all that stuff I did with that. It's crazy. I mean, it's nuts, but yes, I did. So I'm very happy with that. Actually, it came out really nice.
Yeah, he's just crazy over that part. And the other question he wanted me to ask. Now, you've been playing guitar forever, and he said like the older he gets, the older the arthritis and the carpal tunnel syndrome have seemed to affected a lot of players Do you have any special warm-up stretches to keep your hands in shape in such intense playing like you do?
I wish I did, but I don't. I think that it's a funny story because when I was like 20 years old, when I was like really young, I started getting problems, in my hand. But I actually sat down with Richie Blackmore, and he told me to eat bananas and drink Gatorade, and it's potassium and stuff like that that's in there. And I did that then, and it really helped out. I think the most important thing is that you basically don't get too tense. Don't do the wrong movements and stuff like that. Because a lot. Then again, this technique of guitar playing doesn't really have a right or wrong. It's whatever you feel like doing. So it's not like a violin bow or a piano where they 500 years of technique that's been handed down. So I don't really have it. You have to kind of like find out yourself what's best for you.
Okay. All right. Well, I saw you back a while ago on tour. I was wondering, are we going to see you back out on tour this year across North America?
Absolutely. 100%. In 2 weeks, I'm going to Serbia. I'm headlining a festival in Serbia. Then in July, I'm doing some gigs in Miami area and the Tampa area and Texas. And then in November, as of now, we have November, December booked. Huge tour in the United States.
All right.
Yes, and I'm hoping to get more stuff put in before then. But it's such a crazy thing what happened with the touring industry because they put a total stop to it, and now it's like a rush. Every artist and every venue and every tour bus company and everything is like a rush on it now. It's crazy, But no. We definitely do. We got to probably tour for a year on this.
All right. Well, I tell you, I've heard the whole album, and I think it is outstanding. I can't wait to hear some of it live. And it has been a pleasure having you today on Rock and Metal Revival.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.